To wrap up the effects of a higher real interest rate, we can see that the substitution effect is unambiguous. A higher real rate always encourages people to substitute out of current consumption and into savings, or equivalently into future consumption. The income effect, though, depends on whether a consumer is a borrower or a lender. And so these effects are summarized in this table. SE just denotes substitution effect, IE is the income effect, and TE is the tight end. It's the total effect. So if you are a borrower and the real interest rate increases, then the substitution effect is going to drive down current consumption, and the income effect is also going to drive down current consumption. So that means the total effect is unambiguous. Current consumption will fall. But what about future consumption? Well, here we have that the substitution effect is going to encourage you to want to consume more in the future. But because you're a borrower, a higher real interest rate reduces your income, and therefore, with both current and future consumption being normal goods, that's going to tend to reduce your demand for future consumption. So the total effect is ambiguous. And what you can see is that this ambiguity shows up in each of these four cases that we are looking at. And this ambiguity always comes from the income effect being sometimes different from the substitution effect. So what are we going to do about this? Well, we're going to look at what's called the representative consumer. And there are two ways to think about this. One is you can just say, okay, we're neither going to be a borrower nor a lender. Or you could think that if you're in a closed economy, meaning you're not trading with other countries, then every dollar that gets loaned has to also be borrowed by somebody in that economy. And so what we're going to do then is, by using this representative consumer paradigm, is we're going to eliminate the income effect of changes in real interest rates. Why is that? Well, remember, the income effect has a different effect on borrowers than it does on lenders. But if for every borrower there's a lender, then those income effects have to cancel out once you go to the whole economy. And so what we're going to do then is we're going to assume that the income effect of a change in the real interest rate is zero. And as we've seen, the substitution effect is unambiguous. A higher real interest rate is going to reduce the demand for current consumption. It increases savings. Therefore, it increases demand for future consumption. And symmetric arguments hold if you reduce the real interest rate. So we're now going to turn to looking at a representative consumer. And in doing that, we're going to be thinking about the economy as a whole. And we're moving away from looking at an individual consumer. This will allow us to come up with a framework that determines what the real interest rate is in the economy.